Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and this day just gets better and better. Everything that's happened, all that's happened, people going, and of course now we've got Patrick Harvie being humiliated as well. It's almost like the cherry on the cake. But apparently Harvie, who's been pushing these heat pumps and all the green solutions and things like that, has been made to look like a completely tiny little knob because, all in all, and considering he's in the government, only one, singular, one building in the government that's owned by the government has actually got a green heating system. One. So all this thing about forcing it on other people, and he can't even do it for his own government. What is the man on? He's on a real fail trip, isn't it? But then I suppose if you were Patrick Harvie, you'd be on a fail trip anyway. You must wake up every morning, look in the mirror and go, oh God, it's me again. Because he's got a truly awful, joyless life. And he tries to impose these things. And it's a joy to watch him fail time and time again. Him and Humza Yousaf, they need to run away and form a love nest. I mean, only one of them would enjoy it, I think. But at least it'd be two fails together, wouldn't it? Anyway, we'll take a look at this. We'll see how Patrick's misery extend, but our joy at his misery. As once again he realises that everything he tries to do always turns out to be typical Patrick Harvie. A bit odd and a failure. Here goes. So old heat pump Harvie humiliated as only one Scottish government building has been given a green heating system, and you can guarantee that will have been incredibly expensive to do. Scottish Greens Minister Patrick Harvie was accused of being a hypocrite. God say it ain't so. As it was revealed that the SNP executive only owns one single building with heat pumps. And as he demands hard-pressed Scots splash out hundreds of millions of pounds, billions of pounds across the country on upgrading their homes. And he can't even do it for his own government buildings. What a sad little man. What a sad little loser. And yet, so much hate in one tiny little package. It's a wonder he isn't fit to burst. The Scottish Government has been branded hypocritical after it revealed that only one of its buildings has a heat pump system installed. This revelation came despite Patrick Harvie demanding that all Scots install the expensive systems by the end of 2033. That said, he's already said he doesn't have one where he lives. And he can't, he says, because he lives in a flat. Well, there you go. Full of it, isn't he? Honestly, you wonder how you could package that much crap into one man. Because all he ever does is open his mouth and let that crap flow out of him. And it's expensive, it won't work, it's inefficient, and Scotland's a terrible place to do it because it gets cold. Heat pumps are great in warm countries, but they're useless in cold ones. He's legislating for an outright ban on gas boilers and other fossil fuel mechanisms to heat properties across the country. Well, he can try, but it isn't going to happen. It can't happen. It literally can't. Even on a health and safety issue, if you don't get the water hot enough, you're going to end up with Legionnaire's disease. He hasn't thought about that because, not very bright. Anyway, if homeowners fail to do this by that deadline, they could face punishments including mortgages and home insurance increases or restrictions on these contracts. But, of course, the trouble is they're talking about £14,000. They're mentioning here Mr Harvie's been warned that some Scots can't afford the huge £14,000 it costs on average to install the heat pumps. Yes, now, £14,000 to install the heat pumps. But most houses won't have a sufficient central heating system. And therefore, you're looking £35,000 in total to put a heat system into your house that doesn't work very effectively, that has to run all the time, that because it's all electricity, you don't actually have the national grid infrastructure to pull a consistent load into every single house. And the net result of all of this in terms of reduced gas use will be so small as to be unmeasurable. And yet Patrick Harvie thinks that to destroy an entire economy, because all that money that goes out then isn't spent elsewhere, is worth it just to give him the horn overlooking what I've done. What you're doing is destroying the entire country. And so the sooner the likes of Patrick Harvie are booted out, the better it is for everyone. And we've got to accept that net zero doesn't exist and that all this green bollocks is treated as exactly that, because it isn't a climate emergency. This is all done for control. Restrict people, lock them down. We'll eat our bug burgers while the elite are flying in their private jets and eating raw, big fat steaks. Because that's what this is. It's got nothing to do with climate. And if there's a climate emergency, as they say, why haven't they banned the private jet yet? Let's ban that. We're all in this together, yeah? Let's ban private jets tomorrow. That isn't going to happen, is it? Because there ain't no climate emergency. It's bollocks. Anyway, now he faces the extra embarrassment after the Scottish Government reveals that only one of its own buildings has a heat pump installed. It owns 18 properties across the country, so 5.5% of its portfolio emits net zero. And of course it doesn't emit net zero. That's bollocks as well, because you have to run that electricity. And where does the electricity come from? Well, half the time, burning gas. It's just that the gas is burning over there, not over here. But it's still gas. It's still burning. These people are so fucked up in the head. It really annoys me. Anyway, this has led to criticism from the Scottish Tories, who pointed out that it was hypocritical of the SNP Greens to demand something which they have yet to start properly themselves. Shadow Cabinet Secretary for Net Zero Energy and Transport, Douglas Lumsden, said, under Patrick Harvie's fanatical and unrealistic plans, the SNP Green government has threatened Scottish households with bills of thousands of pounds if they fail to install heat pumps, though they know they're not an option for many homes. Indeed, most homes in Scotland, and who says this, by the way, the experts, which don't include Patrick Harvie, but the experts are saying that most homes in Scotland are completely unsuitable for them. It would be impossible for them to be brought up to a standard where a heat pump could be installed effectively. And until he is willing, out of his own pocket, to pay to upgrade every single house in Scotland that fails to meet that level, what's the option? There isn't one. Stick with your gas-fired central heating and go, I'm nice and toasty this winter. Meanwhile, all those ones with their little heat pumps are going, better go out and buy myself a little fan heater or three just to heat their house up. Let me tell you, ain't gonna happen. Do you know what I got? I'll tell you what I got. I got a coal fire. My living room, I've got a coal fire. And I knew when they banned the sale of proper coal, I went out, I bought a lifetime supply of proper coal. None of that other crap that they give you. I ain't getting cold for no one. Anyway, now it turns out that only the one Scottish building has one fitted, and whether that's because it's impractical, difficult or expensive, it's the height of hypocrisy to expect ordinary Scots to shell out for what the SNP Greens haven't bothered doing themselves. Mr Harvie, of course, is fronting the legislation to make all properties in Scotland net zero by 2045, which is impossible. They claim it's world leading. I claim it's like, perpetual motion. It's physically impossible. It cannot exist. It does not exist. And it is complete and utter, like Patrick Harvie himself, it's a collection of complete and utter bollocks. According to the Scottish House Condition Survey, which is the last available data from 2019, 2.2 million dwellings, 89% of them, had fossil fuels as their primary heating fuel, with all of these needing upgraded by 2045, either with heat pumps or connected to a heat network. Upgrading older buildings, such as Bute House or the Scottish Parliament, may prove to be even more costly due to how old they are and the sheer size of them. The Crown Office already ran into trouble attempting to install environmentally heating systems in the fiscal office of Elgin. Yes, we did the story on that, and it's one little office in Elgin, and I said, okay, put the heat pumps in, get it all nice and green. How much did it cost for one building? One small building. £3.5 million. Good luck. Your tax bill is going to go to 120% of your earnings. You're going to have to sell your children into slavery to pay for this, aren't you? These people live in an absolute world of fantasy. As SpongeBob said, the only way they can live is through imagination. It's bad, isn't it? When SpongeBob SquarePants has got more sense than the people running Scotland. I'm coming up. So there you go. Old Harvie the hypocrite, and he's been, huffed on his heat pumps. He gets everything wrong, doesn't he? It's a joy. It's always a joy. It's always a joy with Harvey because he's always shown to be full of it. He can't help himself, of course. Being green, being a Marxist, being a loser, and being a hate-filled bag of crap. His life isn't going to ever be good. He's joyless, friendless, hairless, and talentless. Deary me, what it is to be Patrick Harvie. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.